Welcome back to the forum at Startup Thailand and ITE 2020. Our next topic, how to manage your food tech startup to survive and thrive during the COVID-19 crisis. We have our keynote speaker, Mr. Alan Pua, CEO of Alchemy FoodTech, joining us through Zoom.
Hi, I'm Alan from Alchemy Foods. Thank you very much for having me here. I thought this was a really great topic that you guys have invited me to speak about, which is how to manage your food tech startup to survive and thrive during COVID-19. I think this was a fantastic topic, partly because we are also trying to learn ourselves on how to do well during this period of time, and COVID-19 is still here. We are not over yet. But I think what would be good for us to talk about is to share Alchemy's experience so far from our own perspective dealing with this crisis. The format that I had in mind to do this sharing will first of all be to share a little bit of our background in terms of the company mission, what's our technology, our product, what's our aims, because I think not everyone in the audience might be familiar with our work. And then I will go on to share about the kind of disruption that we had to face during the COVID period, and also the kind of reaction we had leading up to the kind of results that we've seen. So I think to start off with the brief introduction of our company, I have a short company video, which I'll play now. Our mission at Alchemy FoodTech is to help everyday individuals eat daily food staples like white rice and white bread, but not get high blood glucose level. Nobody wants to be sick, but when it comes to food, taste is always king. And that's why we created food technologies that enables people to still continue to enjoy their food. Bad diet gives you bad health. But all the healthier alternatives out there doesn't taste so good, and that's why most people find it difficult to accept. Our solution is the only one out there that promises better blood glucose control without changing the taste of your food. Our technologies has been proven in human clinical studies in Singapore and Australia. We have won multiple awards and are currently working with more than 20 household food manufacturers to get our ingredients into their products so that you can be protected. We want to continue to be the healthy ingredient guys that protects you against bad health, starting with diabetes. So that was a brief introduction of what we do. Basically, we want to use food technology to make everyday foods healthier. So we're talking about things like white rice, white bread, and noodles. We want to make sure that those food staples stop giving us high blood sugar levels. So why we wanted to start this company was because both my grandmothers, they passed away with diabetes complications, and my mom has 6 siblings, 5 of them are diabetic. So at least for myself, I have a very close and up-close personal experience on how this disease can be very serious for your loved ones. But what we found in 2014 was that there were more diabetic patients than iPhone users, which is a crazy amount of diabetics. And now 1 in 11 in the world are diabetic. And 90% of diabetics are type 2, which means it comes from a poor diet as well as a lack of exercise, but mainly the food that we're eating. So what we have seen across in many developed countries is that many governments, such as the government of Singapore, declare a war on diabetes. We have an anti-diabetes campaign, and there was a whole awareness campaign that went out with millions of dollars spent, as well as years of time spent educating the public. Many people, many consumers in developed cities know that they are getting diabetes from food. They even know the kind of food they should be eating. Like they should eat less white rice, more brown rice, and less white bread and more whole grain bread. But the truth is, most people are not doing it. And it's really because of taste. In Singapore, only 8% of the rice eaten in Singapore is brown. 92% of the people know they're supposed to eat brown, but they're still eating white. And it's really because of taste. So in 2015, we started Alchemy FoodTech to research and develop our solution, which we call Alchemy Fiber. The intention and idea behind Alchemy Fiber is that this is an ingredient that you can add into your staple foods like a rice, bread, noodles, and buns, so that it slows down the digestion of carbohydrates, and so the release of glucose is done slower. Because if the release of glucose from your staple foods is lower now, your blood sugar levels will not jump so dangerously because the source of the glucose is already kept. And what Alchemy Fiber is made up of is that it's made out of 100% plant-based ingredients, and it's also a patented blend that we've already been granted in Singapore and now under accelerated grant in the rest of Southeast Asia. The biggest benefit of Alchemy Fiber, other than it giving you a better health in terms of lower blood sugar release, is that it does not change the taste, color, and texture of the product. Because coming back to it, there are healthy food that exists in the market, it just doesn't taste good. You know, if you were to change out your white rice for brown rice, a lot of your dishes will not taste the same anymore. The Alchemy Fiber, we broadly have two versions of the product. One is a powder form, one is a grain form. Powder form, we add it into flour and we make noodles and buns and bread. We also have restaurant customers that use our Alchemy Fiber powder to add into their rice cooker when they're cooking white rice, and that also ends up with a product that's lower in glycemic index, but with the same taste. We also have a grain shape of the product which we call fiber grain, which is made from the same powder, but we use our own shaping process to shape it into rice grain shapes like jasmine rice shape or Japanese rice shape. What we have proven as a company in three rounds of human clinical studies, twice in Australia, University of Sydney, and once in Singapore in NUH, is that just by adding 10% of these fiber grains to any white rice, it can be jasmine rice, it can be Japanese rice, we were able to dramatically reduce the blood sugar spike, from the red curve to the green curve. So if you pay attention to the red curve, this is typically how your blood sugar will jump when you eat jasmine rice. And then after a while, you go with a very steep decline. And that steep decline portion is also where people start to feel really tired after eating a meal, which many of us, we call it food coma. After eating a food, you go into a coma. And so what we have seen in our own clinical study result is that even though the carbohydrate content is the same, just because you have Alchemy Fiber in the staple foods means that your blood sugar spikes go from the red curve down to the green curve. And that green curve profile is very similar to if you were to eat 100% brown rice. And now that our products in the market, we have consumers that told us that they used to get food coma from eating white rice, and they no longer do after they cook white rice with the Alchemy Fiber. So no more food coma for them. And it's a very good sign to hear, because that's actually a sign of their blood sugar level stabilizing, and they're no longer spiking dangerously and crashing dangerously. So on the glycemic index testing platform, at 10% dosage of Alchemy Fiber into jasmine rice, our glycemic index is the same as brown rice, but our fiber content is actually higher than brown rice. So essentially, for the end consumer, regular people out there enjoying food, what it means is that you now can have white carbs such as white rice that tastes like white, but it's as good as brown, which is exactly everything that people want. People still want to enjoy their food, because if food don't taste good anymore, then life is not worth living. And if you have a big diabetes problem, there's no way to live, because diabetes lives up to consequences such as blindness, kidney failure, amputation, and the quality of life will really be severely affected. All along, Alchemy's business model is to be B2B2C. So we partner with packaged food brands such as Gardenia Bread, Linky, Pao, Kang Noodles, and all these are household brand names, and many of them are market leaders. We partner with them to make better version of their product, which they will then label that it's made with Alchemy Fiber. We then also wanted to go out and start enabling the product offerings that are served in restaurants, in order to make sure that when you go into restaurants and dine, your rice, your noodles, your bread can be also a healthier version of the cup that doesn't give you high blood sugar levels anymore. As a company, we know that we have to place a lot of emphasis on building brand trust. So from the very start, our project was heavily supported by the Singapore government. In fact, in order to get the R&D underway and to make sure that our clinical study results are good, we received $1 million in terms of research grants and also from different competition prize money that we've won. And after proving the efficacy of our technology, the Singapore government, as well as venture capital firms from Singapore and from Shanghai, they also invested into the company. In order to create better awareness and to spread the word of our technology, we've been featured many times on the mainstream medias, your Chinese papers, English papers, Channel News Asia, Business Times. Each of them has featured us more than 2 or 3 times each. And all these are actually free press that we didn't pay money for, and we don't even have a PR agency. I think it's because the problem that we're solving, as well as the medium in terms of rice, in terms of noodles, the medium that we're putting our technology into is something that is very close to people's hearts. So I think that's why we enjoy a lot of media coverage. Also on TV news interviews, where we even have our Minister of Trade that came down to our office to do a doorstop interview to talk about food technology and Alchemy Foods. We also have done many radio talk shows, TV shows, etc. And other than just being seen on TV, we've been part of many high-profile events as well in order to promote the credibility of our technology. So I will just highlight one, although we've done quite a few. Like, for example, last year during Formula One, the Singapore government made it possible for us to serve our product in the Temasek Suite, which is where the ministers as well as their foreign delegates attended the event. So during the event, we got the chefs from Ritz-Carlton to serve up bread that was made with the Alchemy Fiber. And many guests went out to our various ministers and asked, what's so special about this bread, because it tastes like regular bread, right? The taste is still the same, And then that was music to their ears, and that was also music to our ears. And in fact, during the event, our Deputy Prime Minister, Mr. Heng Swee Keat, he tried the product, and he also amazed that the product really tastes the same. And we have already achieved so much clinical study result that he decided to post this on his Facebook as well as on his Instagram, that he believes the Alchemy Fiber can go very far in helping consumers, not just in Singapore, but also globally, stay healthy while still enjoying their food. And also last year in November, we were selected to make a private presentation to our Prime Minister, Mr. Lee Hsien Loong, during the Singapore Week of Technology and Innovation. And this was also shared on Enterprise Singapore's LinkedIn page. So all this is to help give a sense on the kind of credibility factor that we've been trying to accumulate as a brand. And on the awards front, we've also picked up more than 10 awards in 18 months. Notably, one of them was actually Thai Facts Innovation Award, which we picked up last June in Bangkok. And all these awards, we believe, helps to give trust and credibility to our B2B customers that not only the technology is legit, but we are also a company that has very strong backing from private sector in terms of VCs, also as well as backing from the Singapore government. And so we are a company that will always be here to stay to help support this powering of healthier products under their own brands. So before the COVID-19 situation hit, we had, of course, our plan. We had our plan to launch our product in May of this year. And the plan then was to start rolling out with F&B clients. And our target customers then were brands that were middle to high-end restaurants. There were establishments that gave very good experiences. Maybe you have live music, you have really good decor, you have really good service. And this tends to also be places where you go for celebratory meals or indulgent meals, or maybe it's also a restaurant that is very appealing to the tourists. So why we wanted to go for this kind of F&B target customer is because we felt that in this kind of restaurants, there's a lot more face time with the consumers, and therefore it gives us good opportunities to push out the awareness of Alchemy Fiber, so that we're more time with them, and they are in less of a hurry, and they have more time to absorb and understand, this Alchemy Fiber, where is it from, what does it do, and it's backed by government, and it tastes the same, and things like that. So that's why we wanted to roll out with this type of F&B customers. And we wanted to support our F&B customers with marketing activation, both online through advertisements, and also by seeding influencers, and also by doing offline events, by doing sampling as well as roadshows. So for example, when we were in talks with a couple of restaurants who typically sees a long queue outside their restaurant chains, and one of the ideas that we were working with them was to have the sampling booth that gives out products that already had Alchemy Fiber before they go in and order, so that it helps with the whole experience. When you're queuing up, you're already anticipating, and once you sit down, you can then order food products that's healthier and still as tasty. And we even had a physical launch event that was planned. We had the Senior Minister of State for Ministry of Trade Industry that was secured for our launch event. We had the press, all the press from TV to newspapers that was already secured. We had an event space that was secured. We had our restaurant partners that was secured. Everything was planned for a great marketing buzz in terms of a physical launch in May. But of course, that couldn't happen because of COVID. And one of the things that we wanted to do at the start of the year was to quickly build and also commission our factory within 3 months, because I think to support this rollout with our F&B customers, we need to ensure that we are able to deliver our products to them on a timely manner. But then COVID-19 situation hit. So what it meant for us is that there was a lot of disruption. In Singapore, we call it the circuit breaker, where everyone had to close. Although we received exemption status, we will still voluntarily close our office for 2 weeks, just to make sure that our scientists, everybody is safe at home, and nobody is exposed to the virus, because they were taking the public transport to commute to work. But because of that, we had to shut for a while. And I think the bigger part of the impact was really what we observed from the B2B to C landscape. A lot of our customers like Gardenia Bread, Linky Bao, during that period of time where people were working from home, their sales doubled or tripled. So that's really great news for them. But on the back end, they were struggling to keep up on the logistic, on the manpower, on the materials. I remember many of them telling us that they were running so low on packaging material that, if they produce any more food for the next week and not receive any new packaging, they're not sure where are they going to store it anymore. At the same time, a lot of our manpower are daily commuters from Malaysia. And so many of our MSCG customers, they were suddenly short of staff. So many of their directors and head of departments were actually shadowing and doubling as factory line production workers just to make sure that they can still hit the demand. That meant that it was extremely challenging to launch any new product with them because you can imagine that their bandwidth is really not there. Their mental bandwidth was just in fighting to meet the daily demands. And then we also had a lot of F&B disruption. Well, many of them, they saw sales being affected between 10 to 90%. The ones in the business district were severely affected. And the ones that were still doing well are the casual dining guys who are more delivery friendly and located in heartlands. So, and then because of workers staying in dormitory being suspended, our factory works was also up in the air. So in order to react to all these COVID-19 changes, these were the plans that we had to then immediately act upon. So we had product pivoting. All along, the Alchemy Fiber has been about slowing down the carbohydrate release of the simple foods. But looking at the virus situation and how everyone was trying to look for ways to boost their immunity, we then also added the immunity function into our product. That's a new product benefit. We also had to redefine who are our priority clients. Like now we are targeting casual dining brands who are based in heartland and also more delivery friendly, because frankly those are the guys who are less affected. They're still getting business, and in fact many of them, their sales has gone up. And because now more people are staying at home, working at home and cooking at home, we decided for the first time ever in our company's history to also launch B2C products. So we have B2C products that helps with home cooking as well as home baking. And we also have to focus our marketing activation solely online and also go more into digital sales and marketing in order to hit the B2C sales channels. So that also meant that we had to overnight, recruit new teams, brand new teams, because the kind of people that you need to do B2B sales in restaurants is very different from doing digital sales online. And then we also had to activate contract manufacturers because our factory was delayed. Fast forward to July, we launched with 15 brands. These are some of the 15 brands. Who our target customer were, and we had to find ways to still convert them, and because you can imagine they are all firefighting. And so we have launched on the 20th of July with various heritage brands like Putongki, Yuki Duck Rice, and those are the biggest chicken rice and duck rice chain in Singapore. We've launched with many partners in different cuisines, from local food, local Singapore food, to Thai food, to Japanese food, to Korean food, even the seafood restaurants. Many of these are multi-genre heritage brands. And when you go into restaurants, you see the Alchemy Fiber being displayed quite prominently. Like for example, in Putongki, it now shows that their chicken rice is now made with Alchemy Fiber. And they've also done many of this posting online. And also in places in Singapore's biggest duck rice chain, Yuki, you will see a lot of the menus being labeled clearly that it's being served with Alchemy Fiber as well as in Bangkok Jam, as well as in Yum Cha, as well as in a restaurant called Full Stop in Singapore. And a lot of this awareness was also being done when customers are ordering online. So these are things that we support our restaurant partners. Even on the delivery side of things, when their customers are ordering, we have delivery inserts that let people know now that their rice is made with Alchemy Fiber and is healthier. And also in other cuisines like Peranakan food. And so that gives you a flavor of what we've done with the restaurant brands. And on the B2C side, we've also started selling the Alchemy Fiber for rice, as I mentioned earlier. And in our first month, we managed to hit our first month's e-store sales projection within 3 weeks. And I think this was something that we didn't quite expect but we're really happy to see. It means that I think our whatever actions that we have taken in order to pivot to the new changes has been effective. There's been many influencers that's been talking about the Alchemy Fiber as well online. I will just scroll through very quickly because it's quite long. And some of them are also local celebrities who decided to share about the mission of Alchemy and how you can buy Alchemy Fiber to have them at home now. Online, where we do our marketing, we also have some humor videos that's going out. So we have collaboration with SGAG. Usually their video gets about 100,000 views. After about 1 week, we got about 1.7 million views, which I think is quite tremendous. We also continue to enjoy even more mainstream coverage the moment we launched on both news as well as on radio. And now we have been receiving more inquiries from leading restaurant brands, as well as national and regional distributors and hospitals and pharmacies. So what are our lessons and sharing all of this? Is Alchemy Fiber the role model of dealing and doing well in this COVID situation? To me, absolutely not. There are many things that we're still trying to figure out, many things that we're still trying to learn. But some of the lessons that I think stood out for us is that, pivoting really keeps us relevant. When you're able to pivot your plans, your product offerings, the way you define your customers, there is always ways to keep us relevant. And keeping us relevant is the only way that we can survive. And the startup strength is really in speed and nimbleness because, a bicycle can make a U-turn much faster than a freight train. And this is a very well-known fact. For us, like the COVID situation has hit the world by surprise, but it has hit us by surprise. And I think in order for us to survive, we need to take advantage of our strength, which is our speed and our nimbleness to change our offerings and to also further innovate. I think one thing we've always been trying to pay attention on, to place an emphasis on, is to grow our network in terms of the customers, the suppliers, as well as the investors. And during this COVID situation, it really came in really handy. When our factory was not ready, we had suppliers that we could count on in terms of contract manufacturers. We had already been building different pipelines of customers. We wanted to go to the casual dining guys a bit later after we launched with the middle to high-end customers. But of course, that is no longer possible. But fortunately, we've been already building those pipelines, so we could then call upon them. And we also had investors that are coming in during this period of time to make sure that on a financial standpoint, we are on a very firm and strong footing. And crisis, we also realize, is actually the best time to recruit talents because many companies who are in industries that are severely hit have to let go of their talents, such as marketing executives who are very skilled in digital marketing, for example. I mentioned that we had to build a brand new team just to go into digital marketing. We found that this was a period of time where we were able to recruit many good talents, even though we were paying market rate prices. And I think the last lesson that I will share, which may not have came out of all the information shared so far, is that we should all watch our cash flow carefully because there's no telling how long this situation is going to be. And this may sound a little bit counterintuitive because I just said this is the best time to recruit talent, hire more people, but I'm also asking you to watch your cash flow. So I think every startup situation is different and unique. And I think cash flow has two components to it. One is a cash inflow, one is a cash outflow. I think if you're able to recruit the best talents and that helps with your cash inflow, being able to launch new products with more customers, then that's one way of watching your cash flow. But watching your cash flow also means that you are able to survive this period, because my personal belief is that whoever survives this period will come out fighting the strongest, and the market will be ours for the taking if we get past this period. So with this, I think these are my 5 key lessons and sharing. I think we have maybe 2 to 3 minutes left. So if there are any questions and answers that anyone would like to have to ask towards me, now is the time. Thank you.
Thanks to the CEO of Alchemy FoodTech, Alan Phua. Coming up next, will cultured meat be the future of livestock industry? So do stay tuned. We'll be right back after this brief break.